Our first presenter, Nik Honeysett, has a background in media and technology companies that collaborated with museums, which then brought him to managing the web group at the Getty Museum. He is now the head of administration at the Getty Museum and serves on the board of directors for the American Association of Museums. Today he will share his insights based on his work experience on how to get ahead in arts administration. Please welcome Nik Honeysett.
So, good morning, everyone. I'm going to talk to you today about the other side of the resume. How many people are looking for a job right now? Excellent. This is for you. And the reason I'm doing that is my day job is to oversee all the personnel and all the hiring at the Getty. I get to see a lot of resumes. We currently have about 15 open positions. Any one of those positions may bring in 200 to 300 resumes, so my life is resumes. So, it's patently obvious to me that many people don't really think about what happens after they send their resume in, and I want to kind of expose that to you. So we are going to talk about your favorite subject, which is you. So this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about your career. I'm going to talk a bit about getting ahead within your institution and the alternative, which is to kind of move about a bit. We're going to talk about the position and the posting, resumes, shortlisting, that phone interview, that first kind of interaction with your potential new institution, the actual interview and the offer, and that all-important salary negotiation. So, let's talk about your career. So, question one, who's looking out for your career? Nobody else but you. If you don't grab hold of it, nothing's going to happen. Nobody's going to be coming knocking on your door saying, come and have this brand spanking new job with lots more money. It's not going to happen. You're in charge. And just before we go on, I do have notes on all of this, so I'll hand those out at the end or make them available. So think about your career goals. Where do you want to be? I always think about my career in terms of the kind of looking back on it from the future. Think about where you want to be and then think about the things you have to do to get there. There may be some things you want to do that you may not enjoy, but think about the long-term goal. Now, how to get promoted. If you're in an institution and you want to continue to be in the institution and you want to get promoted, what's the thing to do? Just ask your boss. Say, what do I need to get promoted? What do I need? And get just a frank answer. It may be, well, there's no opportunity, and if that's the case, then you have to make a decision about whether you want to stay there or whether you want to go. But just ask them, what do I need to do? What projects do I need to do? Where do I need to be? When is it time to think of getting a new job? Well, a whole bunch of you put your hands up. Either you're not having fun, you're not progressing quickly enough, you want to get new skills and experiences. My one advice is if you're not learning in the job that you're in, time to move on. Time to start looking around. I like to think of jobs kind of conceptually as being wide and tall. And this comes into play if you do want to get promoted or you want to get more money. A job has kind of width and height. So if your boss gives you more work at the same level, that makes your job wider. It's not really a reason to be giving you more money or get promoted, because promotion is about responsibility and scope and authority. If you get something, if your boss gives you something and it makes your job taller, maybe you have to supervise somebody, or maybe you have to take on some contractual authority, or more scope and more authority is a good reason to either get promoted or kind of do that merit negotiation at the end of the year. I talk about this thing about the job comfort zone. How many people think the job that they're in is the only job they can do? Liar, liar, pants on fire. When you've worked in a job for a couple of years, you get very comfortable, and the job becomes easy, and you get in this kind of comfort zone where you start getting very nervous about whether the skills that you've got would apply to another job. I'm telling you, it's happening. If you look deep inside, it's happening. But I'm here to tell you that there isn't really any such thing as a comfort zone. The skills that you're acquiring in your job will let you do many other jobs. Resumes. Keep your resume current. Those individual kind of triumphs that you have in your job, put them in your resume. Maybe do it on the anniversary of your hire date, or when you have a performance review. Keep the resume current, because often jobs are opportunities, and they're quick opportunities that you need to take immediate action on. Don't ask, won't get. That's about asking your boss, what do I need to do for my job? So, ask yourself a couple of questions. Are you more valuable in your current job, or are you more valuable in another job? There are, think about your career trajectory. In an institution, if you're planning on staying in the same institution, chances are that your career trajectory is going to be less steep than if you move around a bit. When you move around, you have an opportunity to negotiate things. So you have an opportunity to negotiate salary, you have an opportunity to negotiate benefits, possibly, you have an opportunity to negotiate scope and authority. When you're within the same institution, you don't have that much flexibility. There are often rules and policies surrounding promotions. So, for example, promotions may be just, whatever promotion you get, it may be just 5%, or it may be just 7%. When you're moving institutions, you get a chance to negotiate that, because the institution has invested time and resources in you, and you have an opportunity to make that salary gradient and that career gradient much steeper. Something to consider. So, let's talk about the position and the posting. So think about, when you read a posting, think about it. Kind of read into the lines. I have this theory that job postings are a kind of a cathartic experience for the hiring manager, compensating for the lack of skills and experience that the person just left had. I kind of read them like the obituaries, which I think just means I need to get a hobby. So think about the position. The one thing I would... there are a number of things. Always follow the instructions in the position, in the posting. What happens is you send your resume in and you think, it's going to land on the hiring manager's desk, and there's going to be this, kind of heavenly chorus, and everything else is going to disappear, and your resume is just going to immediately pop to the front. Doesn't happen. Resumes this big. So follow all the instructions. If they ask you for information in the posting, either put it in or mention it. If you don't want to tell them about your salary, that's fine. Just say, talk about salary at a later date, as long as you address it. The most important thing is match verbs. The verbs that you see in the posting, you want to see them in your resume. So if it says, leads, creates, designs, kind of real strong action verbs, make sure your resume has similar verbs about what your skills and resources are. Designs, leads. So if you're applying for a posting that says leads, creates, those kind of words, and your resume says assists, liaises with, there's a mismatch there. So think about, go through a posting. I do a little resume workshop. When you look at the posting, underline all those action verbs, and then underline the action verbs in your resume and see if there's any matching or mismatching. So, resumes, in plural. I get to see a lot of them. A resume is really, it's metadata about your career. It's, don't lie on it. Make it factually correct. Make it... You've got to be in a position to justify and talk about all those things that are in it. Triple check it. Get your friend to read it. I'm going to talk about the shortlist, and you may be surprised by some of the statistics about people obviously not rereading their resume that they've just written, and their cover letter. Think of your cover letter as a kind of like a movie pitch about you. It's got to be my process. I'll talk a bit more about my process. I always read the cover letter because it's a chance for you to talk about and convey your personality. So it should be, I like to think of it as a kind of like a movie pitch. And why should I now go and read your resume? And then why should I give you a call and have a longer chat to you? Cover letters and resumes should always travel together. Your resume is, as much as it describes what you are and what you've done, think of it as a reference tool for your next employer, something that's really easy for them to use. Because if you get through to the shortlist, it's got to be a tool that somebody can use really easily to get facts and figures, dates, those kind of things. Cover letters, humor in cover letters. This is a real fine line. It can work and it can't work. Unless you're really confident, if the posting is kind of humorous, then maybe that's fine. Be very cautious about putting humor in, because you may come off as a complete nut job. So, appropriate content and tone. So, as much as you're matching the verbs in the posting in your resume, match the content and the tone. Think about, try and talk about the institution as it talks about itself. Refer to it as it refers to itself. It kind of gives you that slight in, so that, so for example, everybody in the Getty refers to, in the museum, the Getty. So we don't say the Getty Museum. It's a very slight distinction, but if you know how the institution refers to itself, kind of put that in your cover letter. It's one of those kind of little, kind of, back of the mind kind of things that draws the hiring manager into your resume and your cover letter. What else? Start with your name. I always like to see an objective, particularly if you're, so at the top of your resume, obviously your name is the most important thing and contact details. Then just a sentence about who you are and what you're looking for. So for example, this is particularly important if you're looking for a career change. I'm going to be here for lunch, and I've gone through a complete career change. I was a technologist and a physicist, and now I'm in administration. So I went through a complete career change. If you're going to do that, on your resume, just kind of explain why you're doing that. Don't go into huge detail, but just a snapshot of who you are, 5-year museum professional looking to make, just to kind of frame everything. Because a lot of the time, people start their resumes with education. So if you've got, maybe you've got a BA in art history, and you're, for the last 5 years, you've been doing something in theatre programming, for example. So what I'm going to see, whenever you read, I always recommend people read Blink, because that, you kind of set, as soon as you see or read something, the first thing that you see or read kind of sets the tone for everything. So if the first thing is your education, for example, and it's not really relevant to what your current skill in job is and what the job you're applying for, it kind of puts a mismatch in the hiring manager's eye, in his mind or her mind. It kind of sets the tone. So if you're going for a job in I don't know, let's say theatre programming, and your education has nothing to do with theatre programming, and the first thing I see is something that's nothing to do with theatre programming, I'm going to wonder, how does this person fit into this job? So frame your resume with an objective.